Long before influencer was even a common word, she was already famous for 6 seconds at a time. Christine Sydelko built an entire career out of a platform that no longer exists, and along the way, she became an unlikely, unfiltered voice on a subject most creators were too afraid to touch honestly. Christine Sydelko grew up in the Chicago area, the daughter of a scientist turned consultant, and was studying digital media and cinema at DePaul University when a short comedic clip she posted to Vine, the now defunct app built around 6-second looping videos, started to take off. One of her earliest viral clips, a deadpan bit poking fun at church youth group culture, spread quickly and gave her a real taste of what an audience actually looked like. She left college just before finishing her degree, moving to Los Angeles to chase comedy full-time, betting an entire career on a format most people at the time treated as a throwaway joke rather than a legitimate creative platform. That bet paid off. Sydelko's blunt, self-deprecating humor and recognizable signature look, a thrown-together, deliberately unglamorous style that became its own kind of trademark, built her a large, loyal following, first on Vine and then on YouTube, where her subscriber count eventually climbed into the millions and her videos racked up tens of millions of views. For a stretch, she was one half of a popular online duo alongside fellow creator Elijah Daniel, the two of them building a shared audience around chaotic, unfiltered vlogs that leaned into fast food, spontaneity, and a kind of self-aware messiness that felt different from the polished influencer content already starting to dominate elsewhere online. But success on the internet came with a cost that had nothing to do with her actual talent. As her visibility grew, Sydelko became a frequent target of body shaming, both from anonymous commenters and at times, baked uncomfortably into her own public persona. In 2016, she released a self-aware parody song titled Fat Girl and later appeared in Katy Perry's Swish Swish music video in a cameo widely read by viewers as a joke centered on her weight. For a while, it wasn't always clear whether she was controlling the narrative around her body or simply absorbing the way other people had already decided to frame it. What made Sydelko different from a lot of creators in that position is how directly she eventually chose to respond to it. Rather than disappearing from the platforms where the harassment was happening, she stayed vocal, publicly defending herself against critics and refusing to let comments about her body dictate how she showed up online. She's spoken candidly over the years about how damaging that kind of relentless public commentary can be, at times describing online abuse in genuinely serious terms, and has used her own platform to push back directly against the idea that a creator's body was ever anyone else's business to critique in the first place. In more recent years, Sydelko has spoken openly about her own health and lifestyle changes, framing the shift as something she pursued for herself, tied to how she wanted to feel in her own life, rather than as a response to years of criticism. She's been careful in her public comments to separate that personal choice from the years of body shaming she endured earlier in her career, insisting that her worth and her comedy were never actually tied to her size in the first place, and that the decision belonged entirely to her rather than to anyone who had ever mocked her online. As Vine shut down in 2017 and the entire online landscape shifted around her, Sydelko did what few creators from that specific, chaotic era of internet fame managed to do. She kept adapting. She built a continued presence across YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram years after the app that first made her famous had disappeared entirely, staying relevant through format after format while many of her Vine-era peers quietly faded out of public life. So the next time an old Vine clip of hers resurfaces as nostalgia, remember there's more to her story than the 6-second joke. She built a career during one of the internet's most disposable eras, endured years of public commentary about her body while still finding a way to be funny on her own terms, and kept working long after the platform that made her famous was gone. Proof that staying power online often has less to do with the app itself and more to do with simply refusing to disappear.